Hey, I'm Coach Rob Papile. This is Rob's Fight Club. Today I want to talk about the difference between the way that we stand in martial arts, like karate style martial arts, or boxing, and how boxing used to be versus how it is today. When you look at karate, you may think that some of the stances and stuff seem strange to you when you're used to a boxing style. And that's because karate was developed for bare knuckle fighting and for self-defense purposes, where boxing is more of a sport. Now karate has, its sport concepts too, but boxing is really built as a sport, and karate was built more as a self-defense, right? That was adapted into sport karate and stuff like that too. And it's all good, but you just got to understand that if I have a stance where I'm fighting with my hands down and a longer range with my arms, that's because I'm not wearing gloves and hand wraps and things that are protecting my hands or protecting the other person's face. So I'm trying to do more damage with my bare knuckle out here. I'm trying to land that hard punch first before my opponent or my attacker so that I can do the most damage from a far range. In boxing, originally when it was bare knuckle boxing, you would see these longer range stances, right? They didn't have the gloves, they didn't have the hand wraps. They fought more like a karate style. And now we have hand wraps, gauze over the knuckles that build up the knuckles to protect the hands. And the gloves were invented to protect the hands, okay? Their gloves really weren't meant to protect the face, although they do protect the face a little bit from cuts and abrasions and stuff like that. They're heavy, and sometimes they actually can hit harder than a bare hand because they have some weight. And when you have your hands wrapped up in gauze and tape or regular hand wraps and padded knuckles, you can punch way harder than if you had bare knuckles and no wraps and no gauze and no tape. Imagine throwing an overhand right shot as the guy dips his head down and you catch him on the top of the head with no hand wrap and no padding over your knuckles. You're gonna break your hand, your wrist, all right? You're gonna mess up your hand big time, and once your hand is messed up, you're not gonna be able to throw more punches, all right? So you're gonna think twice about what shots you throw when you don't have that hand protection. But in boxing, with these big fluffy gloves on, I joke about the fluffy gloves, but with the padding over our knuckles, we can throw punches pretty hard. All right. Now, the one thing about having big gloves on is sometimes they don't get through, right? They don't get through the guard as easy because they're wider, where you can slip a smaller hand through a little easier than the glove. So there's advantages and disadvantages, but I will tell you that the boxing glove was invented to protect people's hands more than somebody else's face. Headgears were invented to protect people's, around the outside of the eyes and the cheekbones and stuff. And they do a pretty good job of that. Now, there's always the argument of, does the headgear help or hurt when it comes to getting hit with a hard punch? And I do think they absorb a little bit of impact, which I think helps, but sometimes they make your head a little bigger too. So, there's the negative side of that too. But the verdict's still out on that one, I guess. But just thought you might be interested in knowing some of the differences between the martial arts, or similarities even between the martial arts and the boxing, and why we might change our stance based on what we have on our hands. All right, I'm Coach Rob. This is Rob's Fight Club. And hey, go to robsfightclub.com. Come on in, try out a trial class if you're watching this video for the first time.